Good morning, children. Yesterday, we have started to discuss about the third chapter of civics, that is, how the state government works. In this chapter, we have tried to understand the different responsibility of the government with the help of the example of the health. As you can see, here the two girls are reading the newspaper and they came to know about the water shortage in their state and how the people are falling sick due to that. And when they were moving onto the road, they saw a crowd. The large number of people were gathered at one place, and suddenly one policewoman stopped them, and then they started to ask that woman that what is going on. Then she replied that they are here near the MLA's residence, and they are demanding for the we can say the immediate action to bring the public health situation under control, as there is a kind of a epidemic, that is diarrhea, in their region. So one of the person who most probably the leader of that crowd was raising the voice against the MLA for what are the responsibilities and what are the duties of the government. So in this way we have understood this, as well as in the next point we have understood what is MLA or who are the MLAs. So who are the MLAs? The member of legislative assemblies are called as the MLAs, and these are elected by the people through the elections, and then they go into the legislative assembly and they raise the issues related to the people from where they have been elected. And then we have seen what is the meaning of constituency. Then we have seen the example of the Himachal Pradesh and relevant constituencies, as well as we have seen that how in 2017 and 2003 the elections were held. In this way we have seen the different things. Today we are going to see a debate in Legislative Assembly. As you know very well, the Legislative Assembly is the place where the different actions related to the laws and rules are made, as well as different decisions are discussed, or different issues related to different areas or the different constituencies of that state is discussed. So let us try to understand what is Legislative Assembly and what kind of debates are taking place in the Legislative Assembly with the help of the example of one of the school's children have gone to visit uh, the legislative assembly of their state. Let's try to understand. So Afrin, Sujata, and many other students from their school traveled to the state capital to visit the legislative assembly, which was housed in an impressive building. The children were excited, and after security checks, they were taken upstairs. There was a gallery from where they could see the large hall below. There were rows and rows of desks. So in this way, here we are going to understand that some of the children of school like Afrin and Sujata have went to visit the state capital, and basically they have went to visit the legislative assembly. So they reached near the legislative assembly. Then after um, checking through the security, they were taken upstairs, and there was a gallery from where they could see the large hall was there, and there were so many rows of desks, and desks were there. And in this way they entered into the legislative assembly. This assembly was going to have a debate on a current problem. During this time, MLAs can express their opinions and ask questions related to the issue or give suggestions about what should be done by the government. Those who wish to can respond to this. The minister then replies to the questions and tries to assure the assembly that adequate steps are being taken. So, as you know very well, that in the assemblies the debates are taking place on the current issues and current problems that are going on into the state. So during the time of the assembly, different MLAs can express their opinions, views, or they can share the problem of their constituency, and they can as well as ask the question to the related issues to the ruling party or the government. And whoever wish, they can also respond to these questions. Then the minister replies to the questions and try to assure the assembly that whatever the problems are there in different constituencies and different areas of the state, adequate steps will be taken to overcome of that situation. Then the chief minister and the ministers have to take decision and run the government. We usually hear about them or see them in the news channels or in the papers. However, whatever decisions are being taken have to be approved by the members of the legislative assembly. In a democracy, these members can ask questions, debate an important issue, decide where money should be spent, etc. They have the main authority. So, in this way, after the assemblies, the chief minister and the other minister have to take decisions related to the different issues for running the proper government, as well as we usually hear about the ministers and chief ministers are coming in the television or in the newspapers and all that. However, or whatever decisions are taken in that decision has to be approved or permitted by the other members of legislative assemblies. If that decision is not getting approved or appreciated or permitted by the large number of the member of legislative assemblies, then that decision will not be passed or that will not be implemented. And therefore the decision take the permission or the approval is very important for implementing anything in the state or for the betterment of the state, because all the people, all the legislative members are knowing the fact related to their own constituencies. In a democracy, these members can ask the questions. So in the democracy like our country is a democratic country, and in the country like India, where the democracy is there, the MLAs in the legislative assembly can ask the questions, and as well as they can debate an important issue, and the ministers and chief minister decide where the money should be spent according to the budget of the state, etc. They have the main authority. The we can say the ministers, chief ministers are having the main authority that where the money should be spent. Now here the debate is started in the constituency, in the legislative assembly, and the first MLA stands and he raises his issue and he pointed out his own opinion about the situation in the state. So what he says, let's try to understand. In my constituency of Akhandgaon, during the last 3 weeks, there were 15 deaths because of diarrhea. I think it is a shame that this government has not been able to check the situation of a simple problem like diarrhea, while proclaiming itself to be a champion of technology. I would call the attention of the minister in charge of health to take immediate measures to control the situation. So here, MLA 1 is raising voice for his own constituency of Akhandgaon, that during last 3 weeks there were 15 deaths because of the diarrhea, as the people are not getting the clean drinking water. And he also adds in that he think that he feels shame about this government, that this government has not taken any adequate step for this situation, because the people are dying because of diarrhea, and this government who call themselves a champion of technology is not able to control the such kind of epidemic, simple epidemic. And he wanted to grab the attention of the minister of the health, basically who is the in charge of the health, to take the immediate measures to control the situation of diarrhea in his constituency of Akhandgaon. In this way, this MLA 1 raises his voice. So, what we have come to know from this discussion or from this opinion, that this MLA would be definitely from the opposite party, because he is blaming the government, as he is shameful of the government that is not able to take the proper or adequate step, who is calling himself or itself a champion of technology. So MLA 1 is of opposite party. Then MLA 2. My question is, why are government hospitals in such a bad situation? Why is the government is not appointing proper doctors and other medical staff in the district? I would also like to know how the government plans to deal with this situation. So here the MLA 2 also raises his voice, and he says, my question is, why the government hospitals in such a bad condition or bad situation? Why the government hospitals are not appointing the proper doctors, nurses and medical staff in the district? As well as he also says, I would also like to know how the government is planning to deal with this situation of epidemic. So in this way, the another MLA also stands and he also raises his voice. Then in the next period, we are going to see how the other MLAs and the ministers and chief ministers are answering to the questions asked through the different MLAs of the opposition party. We are going to understand in the next period. Till then, thank you very much.